16 feels like I'm out of my mind. Pretty got everything will be fine. It seems like I'm running out of time. Out of time to make things right. Feels like I'm out of my mind. So baby girl, how about you be mine? Be mine from the end of time. All you gotta do is hit my eyes. I'm trying to make you my everything. Stars of a wedding ring. Girl, you everything to me. I'm trying to make you my everything. I'll buy you anything. Cause everything's on me. Yeah, every little thing's on me. I can hear your soul calling out on me. Every single little thing's on me. Every single little thing. Everybody and their people trying to stop me. Feels like the whole world's on top of me. I'ma tell the whole world to get off of me. I'ma tell the whole world you ain't stopping me. I want you when you're beautiful. I know you're beautiful, don't you know? I just wanna get to where we're closer. Be mine. Cause baby, you too far to have these people waste your time. So tell them sorry, wait in line. I'm tryna make you my everything. Stars of a wedding ring. Girl, you everything to me. I'm tryna make you my everything. I'll buy you anything. Cause everything's on me. I'm tryna make you my everything. Stars of a wedding ring. Girl, you everything to me. I'm tryna make you everything, my everything. I'll buy you anything. Cause everything's on me.
If Jalen doesn't trust you, no one does.
16 feels like I'm out of my mind. Pretty got everything will be fine. It seems like I'm running out of time. Out of time to make things right. Feels like I'm out of my mind. So baby girl, how about you be mine? Be mine from the end of time. All you gotta do is hit my eyes. I'm trying to make you my everything. Stars of a wedding ring. Girl, you everything to me. I'm trying to make you my everything. I'll buy you anything. Cause everything's on me. Yeah, every little thing's on me. I can hear your soul calling out on me. Every single little thing's on me. Every single little thing. Everybody and their people trying to stop me. Feels like the whole world's on top of me. I'ma tell the whole world to get off of me. I'ma tell the whole world you ain't stopping me. I want you when you're beautiful. I know you're beautiful, don't you know? I just wanna get to where we're closer. Be mine. Cause baby, you too far to have these people waste your time. So tell them sorry, wait in line. I'm tryna make you my everything. Stars of a wedding ring.
Greetings, it is I, your conquering Decepticon overlord. Tonight on the RAVEstream, we open bag number 4, share some student-submitted videos, and a new funny video from an unseen character. Ha ha ha. I have my titanium-covered missiles and my overwhelming desire for world domination. The RAVEstream starts now.
Ba-dum bum ba-dum, ba-dum bum ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-dum, 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 ba-dum bum ba-dum, ba-dum bum ba-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 11. I'm out of hands now. I gotta use toes. Episode 11.
I don't think your foot got onto the screen, but I'm not sure.
I saw it.
Oh, barely.
Right
there you go.
Okay. Super excited you guys are here. Hello, Wise Hearts. Hello, Coon Household. Nice to see you guys. So a couple things. I am still excited. I don't know about you guys. I am still riding a natural high from getting to see all you guys at Fall Party. It was a whole lot of fun. Costumes were fantastic.
The extrovert is finally happy.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
extrovert finally got his fix.
It was exciting for me because every time we do these, I'm never sure who's watching, and even though we can look and see the little numbers and we know that people are watching, or we know that people watch it on Thursday or Friday, I'm never quite sure who's watching. And so it was really awesome when we put an event out there. All you guys showed up. A lot of you guys showed up. And I'm super excited about that, and I'm glad you guys were there. We had a whole lot of fun. That brings us to the next event. We got Trunk or Treat coming this Saturday. And you guys will get a little bit of a scoop from the rest of the congregation, and it'll be in an email tomorrow. Right now, the weather is not really cooperating. There's hurricane rains coming up from the Gulf and all those kind of things. I think actually schools are delayed a couple hours in the morning already. But
it doesn't matter. We're gonna give out sugar and diabetes anyway.
If it is raining, normally we had a backup plan where we would kind of funnel everybody through the building and do that kind of thing. Because of coronavirus stuff, it's not really the smartest idea. So if it does rain, we're gonna have to cancel. And so just kind of be aware of that. We'll try to make sure everybody knows ahead of time. I'm going to adjust this light, because it is in my eye just a little bit. Is that still
there
good?
You go.
There we go. Much better. Anyway, so just be aware of that. But right now I'm super excited about Trunk or Treat, and I hope you guys are too. If you're not decorating a car, that's okay. We're still going to do stuff in the community. So you teens that came last time, I gave you guys some cards and sent you out with little gifts, and I sent you into the community basically to trick or treat, but to give people these cards that were basically reverse trick or treat cards that said, thank you so much for being part of our community. We love you. We care about you. And it was just a way for us to reach out to our neighborhood and do something nice for them. So if you want to come and be a part of that, you get to trick or treat, and you'll be able to help out kind of what we're doing Saturday evening. So that's Saturday. Be here before 5 o'clock. The whole event runs 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock, but that's just to make sure that we kind of hit all the trick-or-treaters, and we're usually done well before 9 o'clock. So there's going to be hot dogs and things like that for the community. Make sure you got your masks. Make sure if you're handing out candy, you got gloves. We've got some gloves as well, but really excited to see you guys there and the rest of the congregation. And hopefully it'll be a great opportunity to reach out to our community in a time where not very many people are getting out, and hopefully we can do it in a way that people get to enjoy something. And it'll be an example and a hopefully its own testimony of the kind of people that we are and what we stand for and what we live for as Christians. So also, and I'm going to get Michael to chime in on this. We talked at the fall party about trying to find a time to do an Among Us game. A lot of you guys play Among Us, and we thought it would be cool for the youth group to get together and kind of play our own game. So, Michael, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so as y'all know, we got a fair amount of interest when I popped the question at the fall party. Among Us games, as most of you know, are 10-player games. So we're really looking to get an idea of what dates and times would work well for everyone. Obviously, everyone's got school going on. So we're thinking afternoon at the very least. That's non-negotiable as far as we've thought. We're considering I was about to burp there, but it didn't happen. We're considering a Friday session, so maybe 4 o'clock, after 4 o'clock on a Friday, we play for an hour or two, and that length of time would be just to make sure that if we got more than 10 people, that people could cycle in so everyone could get a run of games to play. I'd probably be streaming or recording it from the church so that way we could go back and edit and throw some highlights together. That'd be really cool, just to see scenes where I get absolutely bamboozled by one of y'all playing 4-dimensional chess on me, or me getting 5 kills in one game. That has happened before. It's so much fun, especially when you start locking doors on people. Yeah, I know. Great game. You get to murder people. You get to lock doors. What's not to like, right? We're all psychopaths here. But what we need is input from y'all. We need to know what exactly y'all are available to do, what times and days work best. So we're gonna put out a poll on our group me after this rave stream is over, and I'm gonna point at Rodney. You do the poll. I don't know how to do it.
We'll do it.
You better do it. We're going to put out a poll on the group me that's going to probably have just a couple options, maybe like a Wednesday afternoon or a Friday afternoon or something like that. And we're just going to ask people to gauge interest, like, hey, if we said this was going to be on, this day of the week at this time, would you turn up? And don't click it just because, I think that's a cool idea, but I probably wouldn't be able to make it.
And we'll do time frames as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
Like 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, or 8 to 9, something like that, to kind of gauge, are you guys better to do it earlier, better to do it later, better on the weekend, things like that. So stay tuned for that. And if you're not on the group me, send me a message, send me an email, put a message in this chat here on YouTube, and let me know so we can get you guys set up on the group me. We
don't do smoke signals though. That doesn't work. We're not really scanning the skyline, but any other way he will get wind of it eventually.
Exactly.
Which ironically, wind is kind of how you get smoke signals. You see the wind moving. But
so make sure you do that. Sign up for the group me and send me a message if you're not on the group me, because that's where we're going to ask that question and see who's interested. And we'll do that. That'll be something else we can do. And then after the trunk or treat, we're going to have some other events coming in November, in place of fall retreat, in place of some other stuff.
So you need to be in the know. You need to be on the group me so that we can get information out to you. It's pretty much one-stop shop for any updates or anything that changes rapidly, and we need to get a hold of y'all quickly.
Exactly. And we're going to kind of make it through November and December, and then we're going to try to start our classes in person back in January. So Wednesday night stuff, Sunday morning stuff. We're going to try to give it some space and make sure that everybody's ready to go. And that'll be hopefully we'll get through some of the colder, school months and that kind of thing, and start a new year. And if everything's going okay coronavirus wise, we can try to get back together and be able to see each other. So having said that, before we get into our lesson, it's Halloween, and we have to do something a little Halloween-esque. So what's the use of having a green screen if we can't use the green screen to do all kinds of cool stuff? So having said that, Michael, would you please put us in the Halloween spirit?
With pleasure, Rodney.
That was fantastic. I love that. And it's even got sound with it, right? Like, it's like all this stuff. And I think, hold on a second. You can't see it. Oh, you just see the lady in the window? Right there. Right there. There she is. Right there. That's fantastic. If we had had time to do it, we would like dim the lights, and I would have a little lantern. I'd be roaming around. I'll put my hood up there. Maybe that'll help.
That's very disturbing, Rodney. Don't ever do that again.
I'll do the Devo like this. Okay, so happy Halloween! I love Halloween. I think Halloween's fantastic. It's a lot of fun, just to dress up and be goofy and all that kind of stuff. And candy. Candy's wonderful
Yeah,
too.
who doesn't like candy? Well, I take that back.
If you think about it, is there another holiday that is more suited to extroverts than Halloween? You get to dress up. You get to go out and knock on strangers' doors and demand things from them.
Yeah, that's pretty much. that's a good
fantastic.
way. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
If
And I
you
mean,
can think of a better holiday for extroverts,
You could make the argument that Thanksgiving is pretty much designed because you've got all those family members that are all going to want to chit chat.
yeah, those people you know too. Like,
Those are people you know, but I don't think like for introverts, it's probably not too bad to knock on a door and say a pre-organized line out of your
that's
mouth.
true.
So it's just routine. Like, I'll be honest.
It's an easy way to get things without having to interact with people.
As an introvert, I'll rehearse what I'm going to say on the phone before I pick up the phone. But I do not have to rehearse at all when I'm extorting candy from my neighbors.
That's fantastic. That's a very good point. Okay, so stay tuned after the Devo because we have a new video with a new character that you have not seen yet. And I'm pretty proud of this video.
I am too.
This was Michael's idea.
A good one.
I'm pretty proud of the way the video turned out, and I'm excited to make more of them. That's where the joke really takes off.
Yes.
It's when we make more of these.
I was really pushing for this video for a while.
So we had to kind of figure out how we could get it to work out just right, and we did. So before we get into the Devo, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't.
Can we do that subscribe thing over the haunted thing?
We can. Yes, we can.
That's cool.
Very awesome. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. That way, if you when we post videos, like when we post the stuff that we're going to air tonight, you'll get it. You'll see that it's popped up. You'll see that it's on our channel. And click the little 3 dots that are on your screen. Sometimes they're down here. Sometimes they're up there. And share this video. Share this link with people. That way they can watch this with us and they can be a part and they can see what we do. I love that some of you guys watch this after Wednesday night because that means that you're still interested in what's going on and you're still trying to connect spiritually.
It's our warm and fuzzy personalities.
It is.
That's what we're doing.
That's it. Having said that, lesson time. Our theme is unfounded. We've been talking about building a stronger foundation and being able to recognize those things that are not based in fact. Being able to be found in a world that is all about opinion and all about feeling and all about, your truth is your truth and my truth is my truth, and we can stay in separate corners. And so we've been going through little by little explaining scripture and trying to lay it out in a way that helps you guys see God's word in a way that is real and tangible, and not just believe this because it's fun and believe this because your parents believe it and believe it because we do all these things together. But if somebody asked you why you believe in God, you would not just point to God's word, but you would be able to say, I believe this is true, and here's why I think it's true. And you know that God's word is useful for going back and growing closer to Jesus, growing closer to God, but also answering all those really difficult questions that we have in life. That's really important, and that's foundational. That's why we're talking about this. It's the most important thing I think you can learn spiritually. And so we've talked about spiritual meat and spiritual milk, maturing in Christ. We've talked about building something spiritually, not just not just relying on your parents' faith, not relying on stuff that other people have built. I asked you to be unique, to build something, make something that was just yours, and ask yourself, what do you build and what do you spend your time on in your life? And are you building off of things that other people have told you, or are you building on things that you have learned and you are seeking out in God's Word? Our last bag is a little bit of a twist, and most of you guys have opened your bag already, so you already know this. But our final bag is this hammer. Ha-ha! I actually did go out and buy 40 hammers and put 40 hammers in 40 bags.
What was the reaction of whoever was selling you the hammers when they rang it?
Well,
rang
at
it
Dollar
up?
Tree, when I bought 40 hammers, I also bought 40 pumpkins, and I bought everything of wooden blocks that they had in all these cups as well. So they were sufficiently confused.
Yeah, I can imagine so, because that's not typically what people go into Dollar Tree to do.
Yeah, I had to actually go buy extra rubber mallets too. So some of you guys didn't get Dollar Tree mallets. Some of you guys got the upgraded Walmart mallet. So consider yourself special.
That's almost as concerning as there was this story that came out where this person went to Walmart to buy a bunch of antifreeze for his, I don't know, vehicle company or something like that, and he joked to the cashier that it was for the trick-or-treaters as punch, and the police got called on him.
That's not
so don't do that, kids.
Don't do that. And if you look at your note, the hammer is a lesson in and of itself, because it says, take this hammer, make a video of you destroying one of your creations from the past 2 weeks. And then I asked you guys some questions. The whole idea is, if you did the first two, this really made an impression on you. If you did the first two things and you built something and you made something, this might have been hard for you to pick something and have to destroy it. Maybe you didn't destroy it. I'm curious in the comments if any of you guys did this, if you actually destroyed stuff. I've got some videos to show you where some people did this. So let's watch those videos. And we got two of them, actually. The first one is from Kai Wright. It's a pretty short video. And then the next one, we're going to show them pretty much back to back. So the first one is Kai Wright. His video is pretty quick. And then the next one is Christopher Wade. And his video is going to start out on its side like this. It's going to be weird and you're going to have to tilt your head. But that's because at one point he flips the camera over. And you need to see what he does at the end, because it's pretty interesting. So it was pretty creative. So we did have some video submissions where people actually did this. And I want to give those guys time. So let's watch those videos and then we'll get back to the lesson.
This is Gary.
Oh! That was loud.
Yeah!
This one comes up pretty quick. Next, Christopher Wade.
Here we go.
This little contraption is... Give me a second. Really big bug right there, by the way. Hey guys, how you doing? So, I was asked by Rodney to do the fourth bag. The fourth bag involves me building something out of blocks and then destroying it. And I destroy it with this. This is cheap. Come on, Rodney, we've come to expect better of you. So, since it was cheap, I had to come up with a better solution. Now, over there, you'll notice that I have actually set up something. This little contraption is my mallet. set up earlier. All nice. So, I'm gonna build something. That's the camera. I'm gonna build something and you're gonna watch me destroy it with that. So, you might be wondering, why do all this? Well, honestly, because I can. And I just really want to. Like destroying stuff. There's a really big bug right there, by the way. So, yes. I really like destroying stuff. And what better to do it than to destroy part of a tree? Never know. Alright, last little handful of blocks. So you're going to watch him build something, and then I'm going to break it. I'm going to decide let's build a tower. Alright. That did not work. I'm holding this with one hand, so this is not exactly easy. Alright. No, I am not Michelangelo. I do not do this for a living. Like I said, I prefer breaking stuff to actually building them. So, in other words, I'm not a professional. However, I like to think that I'm not bad. I'm no professional. Alright? So I'm going to give the camera back to Fred. See, here's Fred if you never saw him. Say hello, Fred. Okay, I guess he doesn't want to talk much. And we're going to do this, alright? You're welcome, Rodney. Ta-da.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, thank you guys for submitting stuff. The way these guys did it actually fits really well in with our lesson. So, I don't know about you guys. My hope was that it would be difficult for you to destroy something that you put time and effort into. And if not, I want this to be a reminder. And maybe you write something on it. Maybe write a verse on it. A reminder that one of the verses that we're going to share tonight. But my hope was that it would be a little difficult to do this because a lot of times I think we sabotage ourselves. All the stuff we've learned, all the things we've talked about building a foundation and looking to Jesus to build that foundation and learning who Jesus is so we can be certain of our salvation and growing and maturing spiritually, and we start building things. And then a lot of times when things don't work out, or when we bring something into our lives that is not wholesome, we're basically taking a hammer to our lives and just destroying things that we've made. And my question on our card here was not just how did it make you feel and why, but how do you think God feels when He chooses to create with us, when He gives us this gift of creation? Thank Adam and Eve. Thank any blessing that you've been given. Think about, if you're driving, your parents gave you a car and the first time you wrecked it, or they gave you a toy that broke. How did that make you feel? And how do you think God feels when he watches us fall down and destroy the things that he's created for us, when he watches us ruin our lives with the very same hands that we are seeking to create with. The very hands that we reach out to God when we're struggling are the very same hands that we destroy things that he's given us. The way James would put it, he would say that the tongue is a vile evil, that out of the same mouth come praises and curses, and that shouldn't be. That a spring in the ground can't give off fresh water and salt water. That your heart should only be putting out one or the other. And if it's putting out more vileness than goodness, it's a pretty good indication of where your heart is. At least that's what James says. And so I just wanted everybody to stop for a minute and think about how often we destroy the things that God has tried to create in our lives. How often we go, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to do this. And we're just taking a sledgehammer to it. There's a bunch of different movies out there where you see people destroying things. But there's one movie that I watched lately, and I watched it on regular TV. I didn't watch it on like HBO or something. So it was edited. So I guess viewer discretion here. But it's a movie called Demolition. It's about this guy played by Jake Gyllenhaal who loses his wife, and there's a whole lot of other things that go on there, and you find out some other things later on. But he loses his wife, and his rehabilitation basically is in rebuilding his life. But before he does that, he spends a whole lot of time. He kind of hits this breaking point, and he starts taking a sledgehammer to his house, beautiful house, just destroying it, knocking things over and destroying things. And there's a lot of different stories going on there. But the moment where he gets done destroying everything and decides to start rebuilding his life is a really powerful moment. But the fun of watching him destroy his whole world it actually makes the movie interesting. And it's the point that I want to talk to you guys about, and it's the thing that I want to point out from Christopher and Kai's videos is they seem to be having fun destroying things. And I think a lot of times as people, it's interesting to us when things go badly. If you're ever driving down the road and there's a lot of traffic and you find out the wreck is not on your side of the road, it's on the other side of the road, but people are slowing down to watch. They're slowing down to see what happened.
It's like a train wreck or a fight in sports on the field. Even though a lot of people don't want to see it on the field, they don't want to see players furious with each other. You can't look away. You know, we're drawn to
we're
destruction
mesmerized
and
by
action.
it. Yeah, and so I asked that question of you guys, and I wanted to put you guys just a little bit in that position where you had to destroy something, and maybe you think twice about it. I think God's Spirit guides us. I think God's Spirit, as Christians, lives inside of us, and our conscience is that part of God's Spirit that makes us think twice before we do something like this. That if our hearts are and our minds are centered on God, that destruction is not something that becomes joyful. Destruction is something, if it's destroying something good, is something that becomes very painful and something that we struggle with. And so I want to show you a couple of verses to just tell you about the character of God. That's really, rather than showing you verses that talk about how we're destructive as sinners and how sin destroys our life, you guys know that. You guys have seen that. You guys have lived that. I don't need to tell you that, but I want to tell you less about Satan and how he will make you destroy things in your life. And I want to instead, since we're talking about building a stronger foundation and grounding our faith in truth, things that are not unfounded, but things that are founded, things that are grounded. I want to spend less time talking about Satan and the ways that he tempts us and tricks us and causes us to destroy things in our lives and basically says, no, it'll be fun. Here, take this. And he watches as we destroy everything. I want to show you some verses that talk about the character of God, that talk about who God is and who Jesus is, and leave you with that tonight. So we've got 2 verses. The first one is out of Genesis. It's in chapter 50. Michael, if you'll pull that up, man. Genesis chapter 50. This is Joseph and his brothers. You know the story of Joseph. Joseph's brothers are jealous of him because their father seemed to favor him over the brothers. Joseph's father gives him a coat that's very special. They take the coat from him. They dip it in blood. They make it look like he's been killed. They ship him off. And he ends up in Egypt. He ends up in prison. And we know how that story goes. He ends up at the right hand of the Pharaoh, in charge of a lot of things, and his brothers come back before him. And his brothers, whenever he finally confronts them, think that he's going to kill them. They think that they're about to be, that Joseph's about to get his revenge. And here's what Joseph says. Now, I don't care if, we're talking about Joseph, who is not a Christian. He's a Jew. Jesus is not around yet, but this is still godly behavior and a testament to who Joseph is and the kind of God that dwelt in Joseph's heart and the kind of God that he served, and he knew that this is the kind of man he needed to be. It says when Joseph's brothers say, are basically asking, are you going to kill us? Is it over? Joseph says, do not be afraid. Am I in the place of God? That's a rhetorical question. The answer is no. I'm not God. It's not for me to judge you or destroy you. But he says, as for you, what you intended against me for evil, God intended for good, in order to accomplish a day like this, to preserve the lives of many people. Therefore, do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones. So Joseph reassured his brothers and spoke kindly to them. It's not just about Joseph knowing the character of God and explaining it to his brothers. It says that after that, Joseph's heart allowed him to reassure his brothers and speak kindly to them. Now I love that Joseph knows enough about God and is trusting enough in God to know that maybe the things you did to me brought me to this place so that I would be in a position with a godly heart to do the things that not only preserve your lives, but preserve the lives of all these people in Egypt during this famine. I'm able to take care of a lot of people in a way that may not have happened if the things you had done had not happened. So he's not excusing their evil, but he's saying God is in control. God is in charge. God can rebuild from the wreckage. God can rebuild from the destruction. Now, does that excuse their destruction? No. Does that mean that we should just, it's okay to just destroy things and be okay with sin and things blowing up in our lives because God's going to fix it? No. When tragedy strikes, when things are bad, we don't have to be okay with it. But in the midst of that, we can still cry. We can still struggle through it. We can still say, man, it stinks. But we can also, in the same breath, say, you know what? I serve a God that can rebuild. And maybe we look into other people's lives and we speak those kindnesses into their lives. Here's what John says in the New Testament. John chapter 10, verse 10, about that same thing that we read in Genesis. Jesus says, the thief, that would be Satan, comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they, meaning people in general, that they may have life and have it to the full. That Satan comes, this is all Satan is. He is destruction. He comes to rob you of what God's given you. He comes to tear down that foundation, to tear down the things you've built, and to kill and destroy. But everything about God's nature, everything about Jesus, is so that you can have life. And not just a mediocre life, not just, you're not going to die life, but have life and life now to the fullest possible extent. That even in those bad moments like Joseph was in and his brothers were in, you can look and see that God is in control. That things are not that bad. I have a task for you, some homework tonight. Go and look at the creation story in the book of Genesis, right at the beginning, chapter 1, and look at the examples of what was there before God created, and the words, the verbs that God uses or that Moses uses as he's writing to describe what God does. So you'll see in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and void, and the Spirit of the Lord was hovering over the deep. Formless and void. And it says that God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God gathered together the waters. So you get words like God created, God gathered. But look at all those words, the things that God does. Look at those words. You're going to get words like created, gathered, brought together, and you're going to get words that God created out of the things that were there before God created and gathered, and so on and so forth. The words you're going to get there are things like formless and void and empty and dark, and he took this and he took that and he brought them together. God's whole thing, God's whole personality is to gather together, to bring together, to make order out of chaos, to make something out of nothing. And he can do that with us, and he can do that with you. And I want you guys to ask yourself this question: is, okay, if Satan can tempt us and trick us and make us destroy things, if we can then on our own go off and seek pleasures and things that are not godly and shortcuts and whatever you want to call it, if we can seek out things that are not godly and basically destroy our world all by ourselves, how do we prevent ourselves? That's this note. How do we prevent ourselves from destroying not only what we've created, but what God is doing in us? Because if you look in the book of James, it says that we should consider it pure joy when we face trials of many kinds, because we know that those trials are producing character and all these different things in us, and producing patience and this and that, and that it produces perseverance as well. And perseverance has to finish its job so that we'll be complete and not lacking in anything. And I think a lot of times we don't let God finish the job because we think it takes too long. We go, when are you going to finish it? When are you going to finish it? When are you going to finish it? And we try to do it on our own, and then we cause more problems than we do good. And you can read story after story of where people tried to do it on their own, and bad things happen, or God had to reprimand them and say, no, you're not going to get there by your power. You're going to get there by my power. It happens to David when he takes a census. It happens to the people that tried to build the Tower of Babel. It happens to Gideon, and Gideon teaches God teaches Gideon that lesson multiple times. He teaches David that lesson. He teaches Solomon that lesson. He teaches Jonah that lesson, Job that lesson. All these guys that tried to do it their way and had to learn, no, God's in charge. You got to be patient. You got to persevere. How do we prevent ourselves from destroying our lives and destroying the things that God's creating in our lives? Read those passages at the beginning of Genesis. Read James. James is a great one. It has some really practical stuff in it about how you can do that, about prayer, and about service, and about faith. There's some really good things in there about how we can do that. And then the last question, now then, how do we partner with God? And the next several weeks, our theme of Unfounded is going to slide right into partnering with God, building a stronger foundation. That if we're going to build, it's better to not build by yourself. It's always better to have somebody to help you build. And we should be building not just because of God and not just on the foundation that God provides, but with God, with His Spirit, with His Son, with all the things that God has put at our disposal. And how do we do that? And so the next couple of weeks, including the new delivery bags you're going to get in the next 2 weeks, are going to be talking about how do we partner with God. Okay? We're building something. You're building a spiritual life. How do we partner with God? And the first one's really easy. It's a commitment. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what that means. And I'm going to continue to ask you guys to make a commitment to God, not just a baptism commitment, but as a Christian, to renew your vows, so to speak, and say, do you mean this, and what are you going to do about it? Thank you guys for sticking with me. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for opening the bags. And I asked a bunch of you guys at Fall Party, did you open the bags? Did you open them in order? Most of you guys said you did, that you took them out one at a time. A few of you guys, didn't. That's okay. But I hope you stuck with it, and I hope it was helpful in a way that was better than just having to sit here and listen to me the entire time, that maybe you had something to focus on throughout the week. And I hope you did it with your family. If you didn't, next time you get these, do it with your family. It's something that you guys can do at home when you're not getting stuff here at the building and we're not getting stuff together. I think you have an opportunity now to build your spiritual life in a way that is much stronger and much deeper than anything you could get by coming here on Wednesday and Sunday, simply because you're having to do it on your own and you're not relying on me in the teen room once a week for an hour to feed you God's word. That's powerful and that's beneficial, but when you actually have the mind and the heart to do it on your own, you're going to grow more spiritually. You're going to move into more spiritual maturity. And so I hope you guys are doing that, because that's really what this is all about. Yeah, man.
I was just going to tack on to that and say, anyone that thinks that they can get sufficient nutrition from just 1 hour a week of church is only kidding themselves. I mean, you might feel great for that 1 hour, but then immediately after the hour's over, I mean, if you're not putting it into practice, actually going outside of normal, I guess you would call class time, you're not going to be growing as much as you could, and you're certainly not going to be doing well. I think the common phrase that I've heard a couple times from preachers is, well, you're nodding your heads to my sermon now, but as soon as you walk right out the building, you're going to do a 180. Yep. And you're going to go you're just going to keep doing what you're doing. You're not going to improve at all. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to tack on.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. We made it through all of our bags. We've made it to the end of the Devo here. As promised, we have a video to share with you. Really excited about it.
This is going to be a good one.
After the video, I'm going to remind you guys about some of the things that are coming up, and then we'll sign off for the evening. But here's our newest video. Take it away.
True this, beneath the rule of men entirely great, the pen is mightier than the sword. Behold the arch-enchanter's wand! Itself is nothing, but taking sorcery from the master hand to paralyze the Caesars and to strike the loud earth breathless. Take away the sword, states can be saved without it.
Pen is mightier than the sword. Pray tell, what use may come of this? Good Sir Knight, if it's a battle you want, it's a battle you shall get. Have at thee!
All right. So perhaps we will see more of the McGregor family in the future. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Don't forget about Trunk or Treat coming up this Saturday. 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you want to donate candy, if you want to come and help set things up, I'll be here. I'll be at the church building from about 2 o'clock on. I could use some help setting some stuff up and making sure things are ready to go. And then when people start trick-or-treating, I'll send some of you guys out to do reverse trick-or-treating in the neighborhood. And then we'll need some help to wrap things up and put out.
What's reverse trick-or-treating?
It's where we go to people's doors and hand out cards and say, thanks for being...
Oh, okay,
being our
that makes
neighbors.
sense. When you said reverse trick-or-treating, I was like, okay, so we're going to start by regurgitating all the candy we've eaten. We're going to individually rewrap that disgusting stuff and then pass it out to people.
No, you go give them something
Okay,
nice.
okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, come and help out, come and be a part, and then kind of stay tuned. Check into the GroupMe.
We're going to have the poll
for the Among Us poll, and we'll start trying to put together some of that stuff, and then the week after Trunk or Treat, we're going to start talking about and advertising for some upcoming activities and some different things that are coming up then. So again, if you have video submissions, if you have comments about anything, send those in. If you have a cornerstone skill, if you have some kind of skill, some kind of life skill that you're good at, want to teach people how to work on a car, teach people how to mow a yard.
Okay, Jennifer, that's creepy. She just said, I found the wrappers under your bed, and I licked every one of them. That scares me on a multitude of levels. That's really... No. No, please, no.
So before we start quoting C.S. Lewis, if you have a cornerstone video, if you have some kind of skill, some kind of life skill that you want to share, we'll air it on here and we'll share it, because life skills are part of maturing and part of maturing spiritually, because learning how to do those things and growing up is part of it. And so you'll remember that our cornerstone classes and our cornerstone things are a big part of this. If you have one that you want to share, make a short video and you will get a $20 gift card. We've already given out a couple of them, and we'll air your video. Thank you guys to the ones of you that made videos this week. And as always, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we will see you guys next week.
Ciao. All right, we're off the air.
No, we're not.